The American people are very concerned about voter fraud. They're very concerned about the legitimacy of this election this time around. So if you guys have any advice that you'd like to share as to how we can, as Donald Trump said, make this too big to rig, how can we do that as American people? If you have any advice, please share that. And finally, why do you think that Donald J. Trump is the best candidate to reclaim America?
Voter integrity is a serious concern and a serious issue. We need to be able to have trust and confidence in the fact that when we cast our vote, that our ballot will be counted in the way that we have cast it. We could do a whole other 2 hours on voter integrity issues in and of itself, which we won't. I want to say thank you to everybody who's standing this whole time for your patience and your endurance and resilience. First of all, thank you. Thank you for being here tonight, all of you. There are very simple solutions that President Trump has talked about in making sure that we can have that trust and confidence again. One of those things, when I was in Congress, I introduced legislation. As soon as I learned how easy it is for even someone in middle school to hack into our electronic voting systems, again, what's the common sense solution to that? Paper ballots. Have a paper record of our vote so that if there's any doubt or question about the result, there is a paper trail that can be used to audit the results of the election so that we have faith that our voices are being heard. Congress still did not pass it when I introduced it and still has not passed it to this date. That's an easy solution. There are other solutions that we can implement very easily, but we got to win first. We got to win first to do all of these things that we're talking about. So here in Nevada, the laws in every state are different. What I am encouraging you to do is two things. Number one, look at all of the ways that you can vote, whether it's early voting, absentee voting. I know some people prefer voting on Election Day. For those of use all means available to make sure that your vote is cast, number one. And the second thing is, look in your phone, think of at least 10 people that you can guarantee are going to go out and cast their vote for Donald Trump along with you. Do it. Actually do it. And if you don't know 10 people who are going to vote for Donald Trump, go and make the case. Talk about the things we're talking about here tonight and convince them about why it's in their best interest and in our best interest as a country to elect Donald Trump, who will be the president to defend our freedom, to make America healthy again, to bring about peace, to bring about prosperity again. We can only make this change if we, the people, lift our voices and make it so. Our founders said our government exists with the consent of the governed. If we stay home or if we wake up on Election Day and maybe you're sick with the flu and you don't feel like getting up, or maybe you get caught in an airport in some other state by an airplane delay and you don't make it back in time to cast your vote on Election Day, we cannot afford to lose a single vote. We have to lift our voices for Donald Trump because that is a vote for freedom, peace, and prosperity. Thank you so much.
It's odd. It's odd to me that this has become such a partisan issue because in 2001, virtually every Democrat in this country was sure that the election had been stolen from Al Gore and given to George Bush. In 2004, I wrote an award-winning article for Rolling Stone magazine about election fraud in the 2004 election that injured John Kerry, and Democrats all were of a consensus. There was a resolution in Congress about it among the Democrats. In 2016, Hillary Clinton gave an interview to the Atlantic Monthly saying that the election had been stolen from her. In 2020, Bernie Sanders, all his supporters also believe the election has been stolen. So you had Democrats for 20 years who were worried about election fraud, and all of a sudden, after January 6th, it stopped being an issue. If you talked about your doubts about election integrity, you became a MAGA radical, an insurgent. And it shouldn't be that way. This is a Republican and a Democratic issue. We are the exemplary democracy in the world. We had a couple of weeks ago a professor go to Georgia and show how those machines could be hacked in a public demonstration in 6 different ways. Now, we're sitting in a city here that was built on the capacity of American designers to build machines that count and never get it wrong, right? And there's ATM machines on every block in most cities in our country that never give you more money than you ask for. Oh, we ought to be able to design a machine that's unhackable, and we ought to all be satisfied that there is there, but no matter what kind of machines we have, we need paper ballots. And I've been saying this for 24 years. And, and we need voter ID too. We need, and the Democrats are worried about voter ID, and they have legitimate reasons for doing so, because there's a lot of Americans, and there's tens of millions of Americans, and most of them are Democratic voters, who don't have driver's licenses. So they're elderly people, they're urban people, minorities particularly, and students who tend to vote Democratic, and they believe that any effort to require voter ID at the voting booth is going to disenfranchise tens of millions of voters. Well, the solution for that is something that I've been urging President Biden to do for years, and that I'm going to urge President Trump to do in his first week in office, which is to order the Post Office and the State Department to distribute passport cards to every American who can't afford them. And I have agreements from Andrew Young, from Reverend Al Sharpton, and many, many other civil rights leaders, that they will remove all of their objection to a requirement of voter ID at the voting booth if we do that. And so this is an easily solvable problem. It's a problem that doesn't have to divide us. And it's a mystery to me about whether, and these civil rights leaders have met repeatedly with President Biden, begging him to do it, and he's refused. So I think we're going to need a Republican in office who will finally fix the voting system in this country. As I said, we're the exemplary democracy. We are the example to the world, the model, the template. And we ought to have a voting system in this country that works, but we're not going to get that unless we get President Trump elected. And a voting system that every American, every Democrat, and every Republican, there are certain states in our country like New Hampshire where nobody ever worries about voter fraud. They have systems with great integrity, and they have paper ballots. But some states, and a lot of them are the battleground states, that have systems that people do not have faith in, and that's just wrong. We need to get President Trump elected for this. We need him to get elected to end the wars, to end our addiction to the warfare state, to end this corrupt merger of state and corporate power that has infected and turned all of our agencies predatory against the American public. That allows those corporations to commoditize our landscapes, our rivers, our waters, to pollute them, to pollute our air. That allows pharmaceutical companies and big agriculture and big food to poison our children and commoditize them. That allows the military-industrial complex to just provide a constant pipeline of new wars that is destroying our country. And those are that end the intelligence apparatus and end the power, dismantle the intelligence apparatus that has turned against the American people and that is turning the world's exemplary democracy into a national security, into an imperium abroad, and a national security and censorship state at home. And there's only one candidate who is even conversant on these issues, who is committed to these issues. And these issues, this election is a struggle over the soul of America. And those of us who love this country and understand it, and understand that these rights have to be protected, we need to fight for these rights by getting this president elected until the rest of America wakes up and thanks us for doing that.
Yes,
Thank you
yes.
all very much.
Thank you, Las Vegas. You guys have been amazing, so attentive, so passionate. Get out there and vote.
Thank you very much.
Donald Trump for president.
Aloha.
Reclaim America.